speaking about the playoffs, that means that after that series, we actually concluded our 4 teams of each group that's moving out here, as you could see through this bracket now. So FaZe Clan is going to face off against 100 Thieves. I mean, overall, looking at this bracket, I think it's tough to predict really who are the 2 teams that are going to make it through, especially when you're looking at these matchups head-to-head. So, Preston, what's your take? What's the biggest match that pops into your eyes, at least to start things off, and potential matches into the future?
Yeah, man. Honestly, all the matches look amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
As far as the first round, I think FaZe Clan versus 100 Thieves is gonna be pretty interesting. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I actually like. I don't know if that's just because we play well against 100 Thieves normally, but I think I actually favor FaZe Clan right now. I think it's just the way they've been playing lately. They're
Mm-hmm.
upset against Cloud9. The way they looked last week against EG, like they won some big matches against some good teams.
Yeah.
And it feels like they've sort of found their stride and sort of found what works for them currently in the current meta and the way they want to play it. And so I feel like that's going to be a really good match, and I think FaZe honestly might take it 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then the lower bracket match, or if they end up playing XSET, I guess I should say.
Mm-hmm.
If they end up playing XSET, that should be extremely close, and every single one of these teams can beat each other. Like I said, I really think there's a world where FaZe could actually make a run and honestly like end up in the upper bracket finals.
Wow. Okay.
Ghost versus EG, obviously like Ghost has looked amazing this season. EG beat OpTic, like dude, every single one of these matches, like I would not want to be any of these teams having
Yeah.
to prep
Yeah.
for the other team this week and our entire season relying on this match. Because the Ghost has obviously looked insane. I have players I've coached on both teams, Calm too, from EG. And so they both teams I think have a chance to win that match.
Yeah.
I honestly think EG actually might win it. As we've seen each step of the way, and I hope this doesn't happen, but each step of the way, Ghost has sort of struggled early on in their next step of progression.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's nerves, I don't know if it's just getting used to playing the higher tier competition or what it is, but they usually struggle when they first have like a new experience somewhere. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think they might have a little bit of nerves coming into this playoff match, and I think EG might be able to take it just purely based off even if it's a little bit of a new roster, some of the experience from last season for
Yeah.
sure.
Let's actually look at the favorites of each group too, Anders, because we mentioned at top of show, XSET, they probably have not necessarily the easiest bracket, but the best chances versus the teams that are currently hot and okay or on the rise to be able to qualify for Masters. So first off, your take on XSET, will they have what it takes to qualify? And for OpTic Gaming, are they still going to be like overshadowed by everybody else and they won't
Oh
make it through,
man.
or should they make it convincingly?
So I think that OpTic is still absolutely a favorite to make it through. I
Yeah.
think anyone that thinks that OpTic isn't a favorite to make it through is kind of trolling.
Yeah.
That said, I'm kind of on the same train of thought as Preston, where like I look at that top half of the bracket with XSET and I'm like, shit, FaZe Clan is actually poised to make a run, like a deep
Yeah.
run, because the way that FaZe plays is the type of thing that is going to. You look at 100 Thieves, you look at XSET, and they're very prep heavy teams. They've got wonderful support staff. They're very
Hard.
cerebral rosters. FaZe is the type of lineup that is going to poke a hole in every like atom-sized gap in your setups. That's just how they operate. And so if they aren't playing flawlessly, FaZe is going to run through them.
Yeah.
That's just how it's going to happen. And
Yeah.
so that's sort of my check for XSET is like, A, does FaZe come out as hard and fast as I expect them to? And B, if it does come to that second round matchup of FaZe versus XSET, can you weather the storm?
Mm-hmm.
If they can do that, then I think that they're going to Copenhagen. Because that would, to me, be sort of proof of concept where, like I was mentioning earlier, it's like, I feel like they're a great team, but sometimes they're just lacking that X factor. The way that they play the game in a macro strategic style up versus FaZe, they won't beat FaZe unless they have X factor.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would very much so be a confirmation of what I think they need to sort of prove themselves.
That's the interesting part too, because when you're looking at these teams and we talk about, okay, they've had a whole week to prepare. This time you've had a couple of weeks to figure out which would be your most comfortable pick in terms of compositions and probably stick to that from like day to day. Because now you're going into a system in the playoffs where you have to play, I think, 3 matches or 4 matches over the weekend in the first weekend, and then 3 more matches, but the most important one on potentially like the Friday or the Saturday of the week after, to just make sure you make it to the grand finals on Sunday, right? So there's your preparation is going to be your preparation window is going to be so much smaller versus everybody else too. So yeah, we 100 Thieves and FaZe, they have a whole week to prepare against each other, but then only 1 day to prepare against XSET, where XSET has all the time in the world to like figure out what they want to do for the week and also observe your match. So that's why I think like looking at the favorite ones that made it out of the group, XSET and OpTic still have a great chance to pull through. I think OpTic is a clear favorite for one, but then you're looking at the other team. I think it's a toss-up between every single one of those teams that we just talked about. And the crazy part about this too is I kind of want, not the crazy part, I think when you're looking at this bracket, you kind of want OpTic to be one of those two teams. Because if you look at the rest of the teams, none of them has had that international experience in Valorant yet, right? Nobody's played that big stage in Iceland or in Berlin. Or
are we going to have Guard
exactly.
2.0?
Exactly. and what's you guys' take on that? Do you fear that they're going to have a rude awakening for the second team that would qualify if it's a team that's outside of OpTic?
I really want to jump in here because I think that honestly that Ghost EG match is almost like a precursor to exactly what you're describing. I feel like EG is a team that has been showing phenomenal growth and is rising very quickly towards the top, but they haven't, and I've talked about this a bunch. It's like I'm hesitant to get on like the EG hype train. I mean, obviously I'm going to be biased towards them because one of my ex-players in Apo is on their lineup, but even so, like I have been so hesitant to buy in because it's like, how long have they really been putting up results? And that's just domestically in NA, let alone if they were to somehow make it to Copenhagen. Like, what level of experience do they have? What level of endurance, durability do they have when they start facing like extreme adverse circumstances? We haven't really seen that thus far, and they're going to have to really sort of bounce back, even just in this matchup where they're coming off of a loss. You're just going to have to bounce back to be able to beat Ghost, who's one of the best teams in their group. And then even if they were to get past that, like how far is their frankly inexperience going to be able to last? And that applies to a couple of teams where it's like you might have great domestic success, but if your name isn't OpTic, like how well have you done internationally?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I think it's going to be a very tough one for these teams, especially for a team that's outside of OpTic that's going to qualify. But before we get there, they actually have to play the games. And we don't know who's going to make it through, but you're going to have to tune in to make sure you're able to watch that. That's going to be starting this Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, here for the VCTs at Playoffs. And it's going to be a fucking banger of matches. I'm mostly looking forward to the EG and Ghost game to kick things off over the weekend. But yeah, I think we have NAVCT that's going to start this weekend. EMEA also. Before we talk about EMEA, we need to go for that break to cover the EMEA in week number 5. So before we close things off, of course, as usual, thank you so much, Anderzz. Thank you so much, Juvenile. What's coming up in stores for you guys? I think, Anderzz, you got Game Changers coming up here, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I've got Game Changers coming up. I'm jealous of you guys being able to talk about EMEA here after the break, but I have to go win a tournament. Most likely against Juvenile's Org's female team. So sorry about that, buddy, but I gotta take that up. So, but that's what I have going on. I've literally got my teams in the warm up for Sakura Cup right now. We play the quarterfinals in just under an hour. So that's what I've got going on.
That's hell yeah. Busy schedule here for Anderzz. So
yeah, busy winning.
Coming out. Sakura Cup going on right now, thanks to the Knights, of course. The Knights and NSG always doing a great job for these monthly tournaments for all divisions to make sure that we stay on top of our skills here to compete in Valorant. So, Juvie, what's up? What's coming up for you right now?
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple weeks off. Obviously, our season has ended. We don't even have LCQ really, unless Riot expands the teams. Might be more than 8, hopefully. But outside of that, we don't really have much going on because I'm going to spend time with my kids, try to watch some of these Valorant playoff matches, and hopefully be able to take some back to my players, you know?
Hell yeah. Yeah, well, good luck with that. Hopefully it turns out well for you, Juvie. Take that small break that you need because it's been a heavy and busy month for you in the past month. So still, congratulations on joining TSM. Congrats on what you've done so far with TSM. I think they're on a great start to see what's gonna happen to them next year. Hopefully we're gonna see everybody stick together. I don't know the ins and outs and what's going on behind closed curtains, but like I said, they show some good promise. And I actually want to know what you guys think over at the chat, those that are watching live or those that are tuning in right now on the audio platforms you know, because it's right now in the present as you hear it, right? I want to know what you think. Who's going to make it in the NAVCTs? And make sure you tag us over at VALORANTING and Twitter so we can check out the replies that you have. And we can, of course, give you a shout out on that too. With that, let's go for a break. And when we come back, we cover EMEA VCTs.